What if I told you there were more than 10 ways to break down a chicken? You would have infinite possibilities when you're making dinner. That's what we're doing today, 10 ways to break down a whole chicken. Let's go. All right, so first we're gonna start with our standard 8-piece cut of a whole chicken. 2 wings, 2 breasts, 2 thighs, 2 drumsticks, 8 pieces. Throughout the whole video, I'm gonna put timestamps down in the description. What a timestamp is it's like a chapter. So you can put exactly what you wanna learn about and click on it and it'll take you right to there. So if you're watch this video all the way through, and then the second time, come back and do your favorite one while you actually have your chicken and breaking it down. So first thing we're gonna do is take care of the legs. So you right in between the leg portion, you can see the skin right there. We are going to cut that skin slightly and pop the joints. All that's gonna do is give us a place to go ahead and cut. We're gonna flip it over. Now, first thing to think about when you're talking about the legs is there is a piece right here and a piece right here of meat that's called the oyster. Now, it is a boneless dark meat piece and it's delicious. You always want to make sure you take it out because you don't want to leave that in for stock or whatever. You want to really enjoy that. Secret tip too, when you are carving your Thanksgiving turkey, the oyster is of course much bigger and delicious, and I like to take those and eat that while I am carving the turkey. It's kind of like my my tax for carving the turkey. So what we're gonna do is we have the legs disjointed right here. So what we're gonna do is start cutting the thigh portion, and there's a little pocket of meat right there. You're gonna take the tip of your boning knife, and it's like a little cup. So we gotta cut in the cup. Beautiful. We cut in the cup and it goes around like this. Look at that. You can see this little pocket of meat. It's so delicious. And you only get 2 of them, in the bird. So we release the oyster completely. Flip her back over. Cut all the way down. Find where that bone is. Cut down and release the thigh. So this is our leg and our thigh portion. We'll come back to that in a second. We'll do the second one. I can't tell you how hard this is to do upside down. Cut around the oyster, pull it out. Once we have it released, flip her back over. Find where that bone is right there, and we're gonna cut all the way down. Leg and thigh portion right there. You can take the wings off first, where you just disjoint the wings. Find that joint, cut around, and cut off the whole wing. There are so many different ways to do this, and that's why, like, as many chefs as there are, there's different ways to cut up a chicken. We're gonna do a boneless breast here. So this is the keel bone right down the middle, okay? I'm gonna open it up just so you can see it. This right here, this bone right here, it's like the sternum. It goes all the way down. So what we're gonna do is go either side of that bone and cut off that breast. And what happens is the keel bone comes down and then goes into the rib cage. So what we're gonna do is when we hit the rib cage, we're going to slide our knife and go around the rib cage. Again, we come down and around. And there we have a skin-on chicken breast. Do the same thing for the other side. Open that up, cut right in between where the breast meets where the wing and the breast meet. There's our other chicken breast. Now this carcass that is left is great for chicken stock. So we're going to be saving all the bones today to make chicken stock. That'll be another video. And I think I have a chicken stock video on the channel, so go check that out. But here we go. There's our carcass. We'll go back to the leg and thigh portion. Another kind of trick is when you squeeze the leg and thigh portion together, it makes like a little valley right there. Cut in the valley, and that shows you where to cut in between the leg and the thigh portion. All right? So we have 2 legs, 2 thighs, 2 breasts, and 2 wings. This is your standard 8-piece cut of the chicken. Next, we're going to go ahead and spatchcock a whole chicken. We'll show you that next. Our second way we're going to cut a whole chicken is the spatchcock. So basically what happens is we take the backbone out and flatten it out. Why do we do this? It's so it cooks very evenly. So we can put it on the grill, we can put it in the oven. It is a great way if you're going to cook a whole chicken to make it quicker and better. So you want to start by flipping the chicken over, and we're going to cut out the backbone. So we're going to go ahead and take our kitchen shears, and you're going to start at the tail. So we're going to go right up the backbone. A nice pair of kitchen shears makes this very, very easy. But we're going all the way up the backbone. We'll go up the other side. On the other side of the backbone. Cutting that whole piece out. So there's our backbone. You are going to flip it over and then give it a little chicken CPR. Here, we're going to squeeze, we're going to push down on that keel bone and really kind of till it snaps. Hear that snap? We want it to be as flat as possible. And that's what we're looking for. This is probably the easiest one because, you know, it's just, we're cutting the backbone out and flattening it out. And here is our completed spatchcock. It is super quick and super easy. Well, the reason we do this is so that everything cooks very, very evenly. So it's that simple, people. This stuff is not hard. It's easy. You can do this. Next, we're going to go to the cousin of the spatchcock. It's kind of a new method that's kind of been on the internet called the frog cut. So I'm going to show you that next. It's really cool. All right, number 3, we are doing frog chicken. Now, guess why it's called frog chicken? Because it looks like a frog. This is a spatchcock that's kind of in reverse. So what we've done, we've separated the breast portion and the leg and thigh portion. These can cook at a separate rate, and then you can throw it on the grill, put it in the oven. I mean, this is a really cool technique to where, again, you can make sure the breasts are still juicy and the legs are fully cooked. So this is a great technique. Let's start breaking it down right now. All right, so our first step for frog style chicken is to go ahead and cut between the leg and the thigh, just the skin. Okay, cut through. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut along this breastbone right here and flatten this whole thing out. So we're gonna cut right, horizontal cuts, just between where the breast portion is and through those rib bones. There's just some tiny rib bones there, and it's not really that big a deal. Again, we're going backwards because of the camera, so this is a little tricky. But we're gonna go ahead and persevere. It opens up a little bit. Again, cut those rib bones out, and we're just gonna flatten it out like that. I like to take my kitchen shears and take out some of the rib bones, just because they kind of hang out right here. So we just kind of snip some of those off. Again, it's just the less bones in the final product is gonna be a good thing. So we go ahead and we flip this puppy over, and we have our frog chicken. Now, it's called that because it looks like a frog. Next, I want to show you something that's really special to me because it's like one of the first things I did in culinary school. I was in a culinary competition team, and I had to do an airline chicken breast. I'm going to explain it all here in a minute. But this is frog chicken. All right, for number 4. I know we're already on number 4 out of 10. We're moving along at a rapid rate. I really appreciate you sticking with us. So we are going to make an airline chicken breast. Now, I know it has a weird name, airline chicken, but it's basically a chicken breast that has the wing bone still attached. So you see a lot in like banquets and different things where you want to have a little dark meat and a little breast meat together. So this is how we do an airline chicken breast. It's kind of a funny story, real quick. I entered a culinary competition when I was in culinary school, and I did an airline chicken breast, and I don't know how many of these I broke down practicing. So this is kind of like a going back in time for me. So again, it's a more showy chicken breast dish. So here's how we're gonna do it. So we start off like we did with the 8-piece. We're gonna go ahead and cut in between the leg and thigh portion, pop the legs. Basically that gives us a solid base to work with, okay? Now we are gonna go ahead and start finding that keel bone. The keel bone is that sternum that's right in the middle, and we're gonna cut on either side of it, being sure to pull the skin taut so that we have good skin coverage. Because again, when you're making this sauteed chicken breast dish, you want to make sure that you have as much skin as possible because it shrinks up. We're going to go on all that side of the keel bone. Remember from our 8-piece, we're going to go down the sternum and go around the rib cage. Release that at the top and go ahead and go around the rib cage. We're pulling the meat away and then taking little cuts with our knife, and then that way releasing everything. We're going to start from the bottom, and that way we know we can release the whole thing. And you see how it just opens up for us. That's what we want to see. Now when we get here, we still have the wing attached right here, okay? It's actually a little frozen, which actually will help us out. So you can see in between, let me kind of clear some of this connective tissue out, but you can see shoulder joint is and the wing joint is, and you can feel it. There's a little divot in between. And all we're gonna do is take our knife and release that divot in between. See, look at that. We have cut in between the wing portion and the body, the carcass. So then we can just take our whole breast off with this wing bone completely attached, okay? This is the start of our airline chicken breast. Now we are gonna go ahead and take off this top part of the wing. Again, you cut through the skin, disjoint it, find where it comes, where they meet, and cut right in the middle. So what we're gonna do now is French this bone. So what we're gonna do is pull all this skin back and this meat and really push it down so it has a little pocket that it'll cook and come down to. So we go ahead and we take our knife and we go around the top part to cut through the skin and any other connective tissue. This is the trickiest part, is making sure that you get to clean this bone, but you're going to take your knife and just kind of scrape down. So again, what we've done here is now we have taken that wing meat and pushed it down. It's going to cause a little pocket of dark meat. So as it cooks, you're going to have a little dark meat, a little light or a little white meat. It's going to be great. Next, we need to go ahead and take this little cap off of the bone knife and just pull off all of that skin, all of that connective tissue. Grab a paper towel if you need to, and really just kind of, you can like just pry that little cap off. All right, look at this. So I got it working. You take that little cap, that little bone cap off. So here what we have now is our completed airline chicken breast with the bone that's been Frenched, so it's gonna be nice and clean as it cooks. What's gonna happen is as it cooks, that meat's gonna contract, so it's gonna get smaller and that bone is gonna get more pronounced, and it's gonna be a great presentation on your plate. Next, we're gonna break down some of the other pieces. So we're gonna go over the leg and thigh portion. I'm gonna show you a couple cool things you can do with the leg and thigh. That's next. Next, for number 5 and 6, we're gonna show a little love to the leg and the thigh portion of the chicken. So that's what we're gonna do next. So we flip over our chicken. We've already taken the breasts off. So we're gonna take that oyster out. Remember we talked about that earlier. Then when you disjoint the legs, you find out where that seam is, cut all the way down. So we have our leg and thigh portion. We'll separate them again. Remember, I talked about this earlier. We'll separate them by squeezing the two together, and you feel where that the little bump is, the little valley. Cut in between the valley. It shows us where to cut in between the leg and the thigh portion. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a boneless chicken thigh. Now, again, you pay for this when you buy it at the store, but so it's super, super easy. So you flip it over, and here is the thigh bone. All we're going to do is run our knife very carefully down the leg bone. Careful not to cut all the way through because we want to keep it intact, keep the skin intact. We're going to go underneath the bone. Go ahead and cut just right underneath. Again, keep careful not to break through the skin. There's our thigh bone all the way out, and here is our boneless chicken thigh. Again, you can save a ton of money by just taking a bone-in chicken thigh and cutting the bone out of it and making a boneless chicken thigh. It's a little bit of extra work, but man, you can save a little bit of money that way. And there you go, boneless chicken thighs. The next one we're going to do with the leg and thigh portion, we're going to take, what can we do with the leg? Well, we are going to make drumstick lollipops. So you may have seen these in some barbecue videos where they will take the drumstick, we will French the bone. We talked about that earlier, what that means. But we will French it and push down the drumstick meat so that it will collect in one solid ball. And it's going to make the visual presentation a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and cut all the way around the skin, and then you're going to take the back of your knife and push down, sliding down that bone. If we missed a piece, we got to go all the way down. Again, Frenching the bone. With drumsticks, with chicken legs, there's like these little connective tissue pieces. We're going to have to cut through those. A little piece of skin left. Again, there's no wrong way to do it. We're just going to slide that meat down the bone. And then from here, we just, similar to what we did with the airline breasts, we are going to cut around, get that skin off of there. Sometimes you need to manhandle a little bit, you know. That's a crunchy sound. All right, so number 5, our drumstick lollipop. All right, for our next one, we have our 8-piece fried chicken. It is different a little bit from the 8-piece we did first, but again, the big difference is that when you cut the wings, you also leave some breast meat on there so that when somebody gets a piece of fried chicken, it's an actual piece. This was made popular by Kentucky Fried Chicken because if you're gonna get like an 8-piece bucket, a 10-piece bucket, you can't just serve the wing. It needs to have a little bit of meat on the bone. Maybe that's why they came up with that, a little meat on the bone. So I'm gonna show you next how to cut this 8-piece fried chicken. Let's go. All right, with the fried chicken preparation, all we're gonna do is first disjoint the legs. Again, there is a method to the madness. You kind of always start like this, nice long base. We are gonna go ahead and take off the leg and thigh portion. So we flip it over, cut out the oyster. Find where the leg is disjointed, cut all the way down in between leg and thigh. Same thing with the other side. Don't forget that beautiful oyster. Oh my goodness, like that's where all the magic happens. Leg and thigh. Now, the differences lie now in the breast section. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to do a bone-in breast and a wing that is going to be connected also. So what you want to do is start taking the backbone out by cutting underneath here. Kind of similar to like what we did with the frog cut or the spatchcock. Again, kind of manhandle a little bit. Pull out that backbone. You could use your kitchen shears here at this point if you wanted to, or just go ahead and take it out. So from here we have a bone-in breast. We're gonna go ahead and score this keel bone right here. This is the back side of that keel bone, and go ahead and split it. It doesn't take much. If we need to go ahead and use our bigger knife, we can. So we have our bone-in breast with the wings attached. So this is where kind of your KFC style is, because you can't just serve a wing. So we want to serve a little bit of wing with a little bit of white meat on there. So we're going to go ahead and you're gonna kind of look down, see where this cap is right here, right underneath the wing joint. Cut through the breast, and then take take your non-dominant hand, and you're gonna go through that rib cage. So what I've done now is I have the wing, but with some breast meat on there. So when I'm doing fried chicken, I just don't want to have a fried wing. I want to have a little bit of meat on that bone. Made popular by Kentucky Fried Chicken. So we'll have our bone-in breast and then our wing with a little bit of breast meat in there, just to give it a little something substantial. Again, we would go ahead and separate the leg and thigh portion. Squeeze it together. You can see these skills are kind of transferable. I would do the same thing over and over again. But that's just kind of how we do it in the chicken game here. 2 legs, 2 thighs, 2 bone-in breasts, and then 2 wings with a little bit of breast meat attached. Perfect for your fried chicken. Everyone's happy. Nobody wants to get just a wing. They want a little breast meat on there. They want a little oomph in their fried chicken. Man, you can see it's just very, very simple. Once we got a couple knives in our brain, and we got the chicken anatomy, and we are on our way. Let's head to the next one. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is a boneless, skinless chicken breast. Now that is the most popular form that you can buy as far as chicken is concerned. It's also the most expensive. So I'm gonna show you how to take this and turn it into a boneless, skinless chicken breast. So first thing we do, like we start out with every other whole chicken, we're gonna cut between the leg and thighs. We're gonna disjoint the legs and then go ahead and take off the legs. Flip it over. We're gonna make sure we hit that oyster. I feel like I said this like 10 times today, but whatever, you know. Anything we're saying is we're saying 10 times, right? Here's our leg and thigh portion. We'll work with that later. In between the little joints, boom, leg and thigh. Now we have our chicken breast. So let's take the wings off. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of find where that wing meets the breast, or we're gonna find where the wing meets the rest of the chicken, and then take that wing. I'm gonna do that next. We're gonna deal with you later. Again, real close to the carcass so that we have now our wings. Now we're going to find that keel bone. Remember that sternum that's right there in the middle? We're going to go on either side. Because we're going to take the skin off, we don't really care about the skin that much in this preparation. So we're going to go down. Remember, we go down the sternum, we go around the rib cage. We are just going to splay it open a little bit and just go down that rib cage, making sure we're scraping those rib bones so we get all the yield that we need. So here is our boneless chicken breast, and then we're just going to kind of peel the skin off. You can do it with your fingers. You can take the little sinew off with your knife and just kind of slide it off right there. Now, do we waste the chicken skin? Of course not. We can render this down. You can render this down into cracklings, make crispy chicken skin. You can use the fat to cook with, so it's got a lot of uses. So we'll go ahead and we'll take off the tenderloin. So we flip it over. Again, we got a little bit of connective tissue there. Flip it over. This is the tenderloin that sits right here. So again, you pay a big premium for that too when if you buy it at the store, just chicken tenderloins. You go ahead and just kind of peel it back, make little tiny cuts. You probably can just do it with your fingers. But again, there's your chicken tenderloin. Here is your boneless, skinless chicken breast. How long did that take? Like 2 minutes? Boom. You got a boneless, skinless chicken breast ready to go. Next, I want to show you something cool with the wings. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, next we're on number 9. I still think we could go ahead and do another 10 ways to cut a chicken. There's so many different things you can do. If you want to see more about like how to cut up more chicken in different ways, please put it in the comments. Say, yes, I would like to learn more, because it'll make me want to do these videos again if I know people are actually watching. All right, so here we go. So chicken wings. We're not going to let the chicken wing go without its flowers. All right, so here we go. We're going to take the wing tips off. So basically you just disjoint the wing tips, find where it connects. And then you're going to, so you have your flat and your drum. So if you are a wing aficionado, like I am, wings, drums, are you a wing guy or are you a drum guy, or gal, I should say? We're gonna go ahead and cut in between the skin and then disjoint. Again, most of this thing is just finding the in between the joints, right? So we go ahead and we cut it. So now we have our drum and our flat. With the drum, again, I don't know if anyone's ever gonna do this. When I worked at a very fancy hotel, we had to do this where somebody wanted wings for the banquets, and they're like, okay, I guess we'll do wings, but we can't just do regular wings. We have to do special wings. So this is what they did. So we Frenched basically the wing bone down. So you're gonna cut all the way around, take the back of your knife, push down on all the meat so that it makes one lollipop kind of consistency. Kind of like what we did with the drums. And then you just take that cap off. That's the trickiest part, is taking this little cap and not trying to take off one of your fingers. All right, so with our wing, here is our $1 million wing here. So this is our drum that has been Frenched, and we can go ahead and kick that in the oven or the fryer and make a delicious wing that you can hold in your hand. All right, next, got the last one. And I'm gonna show you how to quarter a chicken. Just simple, just keep it very, very simple. Again, we got timestamps in the description, so please go through, click through which ones you wanna watch again. It helps out a ton on the channel. So I hope you've enjoyed this chicken course that we've done, this chicken butchery course. And now we got one more left. Let's go. All right, last but not least, number 10, we made it to the end. We are going to quarter this puppy, and I'm going to show you, if you're into smoking chicken, this is what you need to be doing. It's a simple quarter of a chicken. So we're going to go ahead, as we started all the other ones, we're going to disjoint the legs. We're going to cut between the skin, disjoint the legs, and then take the whole leg portion off. By this point, you understand where the oyster is and why we need to keep it. And if you don't, I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna be on your shoulder. I'm gonna be that little devil on your shoulder, or the angel on your shoulder that says, "Why didn't you take out the oyster? What are you doing?" The Butcher Wizard had this whole video basically saying, "Just take out the oyster. Don't forget." All right, disjoint. Here's our first quarter. Same thing on the other side. Around the oyster. It's a big old hefty one right here. This is a big old thick boy. Second quarter. From here, we're going to go ahead and cut through those rib bones, take out the backbone. Everything is a variation off of something else. You know, like once you get a few of these little skills down, you get comfortable with them, it's all the same. Whether you're going to quarter them, whether you're going to frog style cut them, whether you're going to do whatever. It's just all kind of the same. Take the backbone out. Going to do a little chicken CPR. Oh, oh, oh. Sorry, I couldn't save the patient. Sorry. I know, I'm getting a little punchy here at the end of this video, but you know, that's how we do it. Take your big knife, go all the way through. There's 1 quarter, there's 2 quarters, there's 3 quarters, there's 4 quarters. That equals $1. We'll see you on the next one.